Welcome to Naresh Kapoor channel. I am Naresh, history faculty. In this video, I am discussing about 2020 UPSC Prelims History Questions Analysis Part 2. In UPSC, from history, there is 20 questions. Okay, I divided 20 questions into two parts. Okay, first part is already uploaded in YouTube. If anyone did not watch, please watch it. I'll give the first link in description. Okay, and in this video I discuss about the remaining 10 questions. Okay, in if you want to clear UPSC, you should more focus on history. Okay, first you should cover NCERTs, 6th class to 10th class NCERTs. Okay, especially history. If you miss 6th to 10th NCERTs history, you will not get good score in history UPSC. After completion of NCERTs, you should follow +1 +2 history books, and you should compare. You should follow newspaper, current events, and current event related bits. You should study current events related history. After completion of that +1 +2 books, you should follow Modern India by Bipan Chandra, Plassey to Partition by Shekhar Bandyopadhyaya, okay, Ancient India by R.S. Sharma, Ancient India by Romila Thapar. Okay, if you follow these books, definitely you will get good marks in UPSC from history. Some people not interested to read textbooks, then they can go for Nitin Singhania notes. Okay, if you follow these books, you should focus on current affairs, current events, and for example, there is a site discovered in Harappa. Okay, you should definitely focus on Harappan related information. Like that, you should concentrate on history. Okay, we'll go to the questions. Okay, this 11th question is related to terminology. UPSC has given lot of importance to terminology in this year and previous years also. Okay, from ancient one, medieval one, and modern one. If you concentrate on terminology from ancient India or Indian history, definitely you will get a minimum 3 to 4 marks. Okay, and you will get this type of terminology in Agnihotri book or Krishna Reddy book. Okay, if you follow these books, you will easily clear this type of questions. You easily answer this type of questions. Okay, we'll see the questions. With reference to cultural history of India, consider the following pairs: Parivarjaka, renunciant and wanderer. Second one, Shramana, priest with high status. Upasaka, lay follower of Buddhism. Okay, we'll see the question. Which of the pairs given above are correctly matched? Here, we'll see the options. Parivarjaka, a person who came out from family life because they are not satisfied with family life. Okay, in search of truth, they will move from one place to another place. That person was called as Parivarjakas. So, first option is right. Second one, Shramana. Here, priest with high status. This is the wrong one. Is the wrong one. Yes, Shramana means a person who came out from the family life and is not satisfied with the present society. Okay, he was against to Vedas. Sramanas condemned authority of Vedas. Sramanas condemned authority of Brahmins over the society. They came out from the family life and they lived like an ascetic or monk. Okay, there is no marriage life, there is no relations. Okay, they'll also quest for the ultimate knowledge or moksha or kaivalya, salvation. Okay, and they condemned Vedas, they condemned Brahmin domination over the society. But here option is priest with high status, so second one is wrong. And we'll see the third one, Upasaka, lay follower of Buddhism. In Buddhism, there is two type of followers, bhikshus and upasakas. Bhikshus means they renounce their family life completely. They were monks. They live as a monk. There is no marriage life. Okay, they follow Buddhism and live as a monk, ascetic. There is no marriage. But some people will involve in marriage life and follow Buddhism. These persons was called as upasakas. Okay, to protect the Buddhism, we need bhikshus and upasakas. Okay, if only bhikshus were there, within some years, Buddhism will disappear. To protect Buddhism, they need upasakas also. Some family persons also they need to support. Okay, in present nowadays in Tibet, there is a different type of system. Okay, in the family, first son will get married, second son will go to ashram, will go to monastery. Okay, and after his children's, okay, his elder son will get married. Remaining sons will go to ashram to protect Buddhism, to protect Buddhist. Okay, we'll see the first option is correct and third option is correct. Okay, first one, A 1 and 2, B 1 and 3, C 2 and 3, D 1, 2, 3. Here Samana is wrong, so 1 and 3 is correct, so B is correct answer. Okay, we'll see the next question. With reference to history of India, the terms Kulyavapa and Dronavapa denotes. Again, terminology based question. If you concentrate on terminology of India, ancient, medieval, and modern India, definitely you will get good score. Okay, please concentrate on terminology for 2021 attempt also. Then you will get good score in 2021 prelims. Okay, please concentrate on terminology. You will get this type of terminologies in Krishna Reddy book and V.K. Agnihotri book. In V.K. Agnihotri book, after completion of each and every chapter, they gave separate glossary of words. Okay, if you follow just the glossary of words, definitely you will get good score in history. Okay, we'll see the options. A, measurement of land. B, coins of different monetary values. C, classification of urban land. D, religious rituals. Your answer is measurement of land. Measurement of land. Nowadays we are using 1 acre, 1 hectare like that measurements. At that period, during Gupta period, they used Kulyavapa. And Dronavapa. Okay, and Kulyavapa, Dronavapa, Adavapa, and Pataka. These terminologies used for measurement of the land in Bengal region. In Western India, Nivartana. In Western India, Nivartana and Padavartha. Padavartha. Okay. In Shatavana period, during Shatavana period, Gautamiputra Satakarni has donated 100 Nivartanas lands to Buddhist monks. Here 100 Nivartanas is a measurement of land like 100 acres or 100 hectares. Okay, we don't know exact number. Okay, this is a measurement of land. Okay, remember this. Okay, and you will find this type of terminology in Krishna Reddy and V.K. Agnihotri. Okay, Dronavapa was equivalent to 1/8 of Kulyavapa. 1/8 of Kulyavapa. Please remember and make a note. Okay, we'll see the next question. 13th question. Which of the following phrase defines the nature of the hundi generally referred to in the source of post-Karsan period? Here again related to terminology. Hundi. Okay, hundi means to store money. We used hundi. Okay, we'll see the options. An advisory issued by the king to his subordinates. Option B, a diary to be maintained for daily accounts. Option C, a bill of exchange. Option D, an order from the feudal lord to his subordinates. Okay, here answer is a bill of exchange. This is the right answer because in trade they used bill of exchange. Nowadays we are having well secured traveling. During medieval period there is no proper security. Okay, trader wants to go from one place to another place through forest. When they are traveling in forest, definitely thieves may attack, antisocial may elements attack, so they cannot carry money in forest region. That's why they used a medium of exchange, bill of exchange. Hundi was developed in medieval India as a financial instrument for trade and credit transactions. It could be used to transfer money from one place to another, as credited to borrow money and exchange trade transactions. For example, a trader traveling from Lumbini to Sravasti, he should travel through forest only. If thieves attack on him, he should lose his money. That's why he save money, he deposit money at Sreni in one place. Okay, at that period, Srenis also worked as banks. Okay, and they are having connections from, they are having connections. Okay, Lumbini people having Srenis and Sravasti people having Sreni. They had separate books. If they provide that paper, they will get money in that area. Okay, traders wants to protect their money, so instead of carrying money they will use hundi. Okay, if they show that hundi to concerned authority, he will pay money. Okay, he can use that money in that city. Okay, after completion of his work, if some money is there with him, he can deposit in concerned authority and he will get in his own town. That is a purpose they use for hundi. Okay, we'll see the next question. With reference to the history of India, consider following the pairs. Again, this is a terminology based question. First one, Aurang, in charge of treasury of the state. Bania, Indian agent of East India Company. Mirazidas, designated revenue payer to the state. Okay, we'll see the question. Which of the pairs given above is correctly matched? A 1 and 2, B 2 and 3, C 3 only, D 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, this terminology used in modern period. Okay, this question came from directly from NCERT, weavers, iron smelters, and factory owners. Okay, Aurang word was used in this text, in this chapter. Okay, Aurang. Aurang is a Persian term. This term used for the warehouse. Before selling the goods, they need to store in the warehouse. Okay, that's why they use a word called Aurang. Okay, remember Aurang means a warehouse, but here in charge of treasury of the state, in charge of, so the first option is wrong. Bunyan, Indian agent of East India Company. Okay, British came to India. They started trade with India, but they faced a language problem. That's why they used Bunyan as a translator. Okay, and they worked as agents. They worked in favor of British in India. They worked as a record keeper, revenue collectors, and mediators of East India Company. So a Indian agent of East India Company. This option is correct. Mirasidars. In Persian language, mirasi means inheritance. Okay, inheritance. Okay, and these mirasidars were the revenue payers to the state. If any person who served the king, they will get mirasi lands. Okay, if any person who served the king, they will get land. That land is called as Jagir. In that Jagir, there is some types mirasi lands. In Jagir, they are already given service. That's why they no need to pay rents or revenue. But in Mirasi, they have to pay revenue under some conditions, because in Mirasi means inheritance. For example, a person worked in King's Court, he got a Mirasi land. After the death of that person, his children, his sons can use that Mirasi lands. If that person worked in the king's area or government or not, that is not a matter. He can enjoy that land. That's why he need to pay revenue. Okay, third option also correct. Second one and third one correct. So option B is correct answer. Option B is correct answer. We'll see the next question. 15th question. With reference to the period of Gupta dynasty in ancient India, the towns Ghantasala, Kodura and Chaul were well known as a port handling foreign trade. Option B, capital of power kingdoms. Option C, place of exotic stone art and architecture. Option D, important Buddhist pilgrimage centers. Okay, here Ghantasala, Kodura, these two located in Andhra region and Krishna and Guntur districts. Okay, these two places were the famous foreign trading centers. And Chaul is located in Maharashtra. Okay, very near to Bombay, around 60 to 70 kilometers to Bombay. Okay, and during modern period, Portuguese had a colony and they also had a war, Battle of Chaul. Okay, and here answer is option A, ports handling foreign trade. Ports handling foreign trade. Ghantasala Kodura is in eastern area, Andhra, Chaul is in Maharashtra. Okay, we'll see the next question. 16th question. With reference to the religious history of India, consider the following statements. First option, Sthaviravadins belongs to Mahayana Buddhism. Second option, Lokottara sect was an offshoot of the Mahasangika sect of Buddhism. Third one, the deification of Buddha by Mahasangikas posted Mahayana Buddhism. Okay, we'll see the main question. Which of the statements given above are correct? Okay, first we'll start with the first one, Sthaviravadins. This is related to Buddhism. In Second Buddhist Council, Vajji monks became Mahasangikas. Avanti monks became Sthaviravadins or Theravadins. Okay, there is no relation between Sthaviravadin and Mahayana Buddhism. In Fourth Buddhist Council, Mahasangikas became Mahayana Buddhism. So, first statement is wrong. Okay, this statement is wrong. First statement is wrong. We'll see the second statement. Lokottara sect was an offshoot of the Mahasangika sect of Buddhism. This is right. Okay. After Second Buddhist Council, so many sub-branches or sub-schools were started within the Mahasangika and Sthaviravadins. In Mahasangika, there is 8 sub-schools. In Sthaviravadin, there is 11 sub-schools. Okay, we'll discuss that one immediately. The deification of Buddha by Mahasangikas posted Mahayana Buddhism. Okay, this is also correct. Okay, in Mahasangika Buddhism, they worshipped Buddha. They also worshipped bodhisattvas. They also worshipped bodhisattvas. So second and third is correct. So answer B is correct. Option B is correct. In second Buddhist council, Vochi monks became Mahasangikas, and Avanti monks became Sthaviravadins. There is a split in Buddhism in second Buddhist council. Okay, and after some time, some schools started within these sub branches. Okay, Sthaviravadin. There is 11 sub branches or 11 schools, and Mahasangika there is 8 schools. Okay, in detail they asked about Mahasangika sub-branch. That's why I gave this 8 names of branch of Mahasangika. First one is Lokottara Vadins. Second one is Eka Vyavaharika. Third one is Kukutikas. Fourth one is Bahushrutiyas. And fifth one is Prajnapati Vadins. Sixth one is Chaitya Seventh one is Aparashailas. Eighth one is Uttarashaila. These are schools or sub-branches of Mahasangika sects. Okay, and in Mahasangika they also worshipped Buddha as a god. They also worshipped bodhisattvas, previous and future births of Buddhism. And after some time, in course of time, Mahasangikas became Mahayana Buddhism. Okay, we'll discuss next question. 17th question. One common agreement between Gandhiism and Marxism. Option A, the final goal of a stateless society. Option B, class struggle. Option C, abolition of private property. Option D, economic determinism. Okay, Karl Marx. He gave perfect shape to socialism. Okay, Gandhi, he was the one of the backbone of national movement in India. He was the one of the member to get independence to India. Okay, Gandhian philosophy and Marxism philosophy is a common feature is final goal of stateless society. Okay, option A is correct. Okay, Gandhi and Marxist Karl Marx discuss about same thing. Okay, their final goal is stateless society. Here they say that they say that we is state to control the people, subjects. Okay, option A is correct answer. What is stateless society? A society which lacks formal institution of government. Means there is no government. There is no authority to control the people. Every individual is free. Every person is free. They can live like a ruler. Gandhiji is a philosophical anarchist. Anarchist is one who is opposed to every type of state. Gandhian Ramaraja is that it is a self-regulating system where everyone is one own ruler. Okay, Gandhian Ramaraja is a self-regulating system, means every individual he should regulate his own system. Every person had a system and he should regulate it. Okay, he was a ruler of his own kingdom, his own system. Okay, Marxism revolves around theoretical professions, a casteless society and a stateless society. Okay, Karl Marx had predicted that the proletariat will take the control of the state and production, and they destroy all class differences. They destroy all class differences. Okay, there is no rich, there is no poor. Okay, they create equal society. Everybody is treated as equal. There is no rich, there is no poor. Class antagonism, and finally resulting that withering away of the state. Okay, proletariat take the control of the state and production, distribute with all people. Okay, there is no importance to money. That's why people will not procure the money, will not store the wealth, will not store the money, and will not quest for wealth. Okay, final aim of Karl Marx is Marxism is stateless society that will only created by the proletariat, never by the state, never by the capitalist class. 18th question: the Gandhi-Irwin Pact included which of the following? Okay, this is a medium type question. In this question, UPSC wants to test our patience and knowledge. Okay, because we are having so many statements, there is no single direct question. Okay, the first statement: invitation to Congress to participate in the roundtable conference. Second statement: withdrawal of ordinance promulgated in connection with civil disarmament. Third statement: acceptance of Gandhi's suggestions for inquiry into police excuses. Fourth statement: release of only those prisoners who were not charged with violence. Okay, select the correct answer using code given below. Here, Gandhi-Irwin Pact, also called as Delhi Pact, because Gandhi was in a prison. Actually, in 1930, Gandhiji had launched civil disarmament, and he started salt march from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi. Along with 78 followers, Gandhiji reached Dandi and picked the salt, and it started civil disobedience movement. At the same time, in London, Ramsay MacDonald organized first roundtable conference. Except Congress, he invited all parties to attend first roundtable conference. Muslim League Party, Hindu Mahasabha, Punjab Unionist Party, Indian Liberal Federation, from Dalits, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, okay, from Princess States, Akbar Haidari, Mirza Ismail, these all people attended first roundtable conference. Ramsay MacDonald organized first roundtable conference, but he did not got success. He thought that without Congress he cannot achieve anything. He says that he started a marriage, but I forgot to bring bridegroom. Okay. Then he realized the importance of Congress. To invite Congress to second roundtable conference, he sent Lord Irwin to India. Okay, at that time, when Irwin came to India, at that time Gandhi was in prison. After capturing Dandi, he started to Darasana. Okay, he announced to capture Darasana salt factory. Then immediately British arrested Gandhiji and put in a prison. Okay, to invite Gandhiji or Congress party to second roundtable conference, Lord Irwin came to India and concluded an agreement with Gandhi, that is Gandhi-Irwin Pact or Delhi Pact. Okay, first statement is correct. Second statement, he wants to remove ordinances related to civil movement. This is also correct. And the release of Gandhi demanded to release prisoners. Fourth option also correct. Okay, we who were not charged with violence. Gandhiji gave importance to non-violence. If anyone who is involved in the violence, that person was not protected by the Gandhiji. 1, 2, 4 is correct answer. Okay, Gandhiji did not talk about police excuses, inquiry into police excuses in Gandhi Impact. So third option is wrong. So 1, 2, 4 is correct. B is the correct answer. 19th question. With reference to the book Deshar Katha written by Shakaram Ganesh Deshkar during the freedom struggle, consider the following statements. First statement, it warned against the colonial state's hypnotic conquest of the mind. Second statement, it inspired the performance of Swadeshi street plays and folk songs. Third statement, the use of Desh by Deshkar was in the specific context of the region of Bengal. Okay, which of the statements given above are correct? A 1 and 2, B 2 and 3, C 1 and 3, D 1, 2, 3. Answer is 1 and 2. Shakaram Ganesh Deshkar, a close associate of Sri Aurobindo. Okay, he was a friend of Aurobindo. A Marathi Brahmin family who had settled in Bengal. Shakaram was born in Diogar. Published a book Desh Katha in 1904, describing exhausting details of British commercial and industrial exploitation. Okay, in this book, Deshkar explains about how British commercially and industrially exploited India, how they used Indian economy, how they sent Indian money to British. To Jadin Deshkar Katha. Okay, Deshkar was the first to bring that in the name of the Swaraj, and Sri Aurobindo was the first to endow it with its English equivalent to independence. The nationalists adopted to this word, and the Swaraj became the chief item of the fourfold national program. In national movement, everybody using the Swaraj word because of this book. Okay, this book influenced like anything. Okay, and even Aurobindo Ghosh got inspired from this book. Okay, he used equivalent word independence to Swaraj. The colonial state proscribed the book in 1910. In 1910, the British put ban on this book because they are this book promoting nationalism and fighting against the British. But by then it had sold over 15,000 copies. Even though the banned, around 50,000 copies were sold. Okay, informed that Swadeshi street plays and folk songs had assumed the state of mandatory reading for an entire generation of Swadeshi activists. 20th question, the Vittal Vidvamsak, the first monthly journal to have the untouchable people as its target audience, was published by. Okay, option A, Gopal Baba Walangakar, option B, Jyotiba Phule, option C, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, option D, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Okay, this is the toughest question. You will not find answer of this question in common textbooks, regular notes. Okay, the toughest question. If you are aware of Gandhiji's books and journals, if you are aware of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar journals, you can easily eliminate these two persons. If you have full knowledge about these two persons only, you can eliminate these two persons. Okay, Gopal Baba Walangakar is the correct answer. Gopal Baba Walangakar is the correct answer. Okay, Gopal Baba Walangakar worked as a army in British administration. He was ex-serviceman, and he demanded more Dalits to enter into army or government jobs. Okay, he demanded government to give jobs to Dalits and lower caste people. Then only they will get a good position in the society. And he wants to destroy. Here, Vittal Vidvansak means destruction of Brahmanic or ceremonial pollution. Okay, Gopal Baba Walangakar started a movement is called as Mahar movement. Mahar movement. Okay, he wants to uplift the Mahar people. Okay, and he wrote so many essays in Vittal Vidusha, Sudarak, and other Marathi newspapers. After Gopal Baba Walangakar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar became leader of Mahar movement. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe Naresh Koppu channel. If you want to get notification, please press the bell icon. Thank you.